Star Warriors, Star Geek here, to give my input on the long-awaited title for Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens. I'm sure all of you are as excited as I am about some of the biggest news in Episode 7 history. Before I get too opinionated, let's jump into some history on the name of the next film in the Star Wars saga. When Disney first bought the rights to Star Wars in 2012, there was lots of discussion on the title for the upcoming film. Thousands upon thousands of titles were guessed, but none came very close. With the exception of one. Queen Gimmedale, a random user on an online Star Wars message board, gave her guess on Episode 7's title, and she hit the bullseye. On December 18th, 2012, the same day she joined, and exactly 3 years before the projected release of The Force Awakens, Queen Gimmedale made her guess, and hit her answer spot on. Even crazier, this wasn't someone who was guessing thousands of times and aimed to get some sort of award or gain popularity. The Force Awakens was her one, and only, prediction. TheForce.net eventually contacted this user, informing her of her correct guess. When approached, she assembled the statement, "Ultimately, this was a random guess. No inside info or connection to Lucas. But to me, it seemed logical that the first movie in this trilogy would need to address the Force. I'm a believer that the movie titles in each trilogy closely relate, and I suspect that this will carry over for the ST. So I knew it was going to be 3 words, and the Force. I also knew that the wording would be vague, ambiguous, and old-fashioned, like all the other 6 movie titles. It was a good way to go about estimating, instead of just thinking about what sounded good. She used the notion that the first film of each trilogy was comprised of 3 words, had to do with the Force, and described the film quite well. The titles for the original trilogy, A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, seem to explain the stories quite well, but if you haven't actually seen the films, they seem vague enough to be anything. Many incorrect title guesses also use the words such as Spirit, very close to the Force, and Rises or Dawn, very close to Awakens. Now we'll just have to see if she can predict the titles for Episode 8 and 9. But Queen Gimmedale wasn't the only one who thought of the name for Episode 7. Our next fan wasn't actually predicting the title for the next movie at all, but rather his own fan film. In 2006, Vancouver native Dan Lalonde created a 50-minute comedic fan film about a modern-day Canadian citizen who unleashes the Force after its long-awaited recluse. My movie is kinda crappy, to be honest, which makes it even more funny, Lalonde said when talking to Yahoo about his unintended prediction of the new title. It is pretty awesome, though, to have come up with the title. When asked how he came up with the name, he said, "It pretty much just came to me. I thought, hey, he's awakening the Force by stopping the giant meteor coming at him." I personally haven't seen the film, but I intend to now that I know that this man predicted the title for Episode 7. He is also just across the border from my hometown of Seattle. So now that we know that 2 different people predicted the name for The Force Awakens, without any hints from Disney or Lucas, who actually decided upon the title? According to an official report, the title was decided upon by Kathleen Kennedy, who runs Lucasfilm, and J.J. Abrams, the director of The Force Awakens. People have been wondering if Disney is lying about who actually came up with the title, and if JJ and Kathleen swiped the name from a message board user or a fan film creator. Even the title The Empire Strikes Back seems to be inspired by a source other than Lucasfilm. Star Wars was a huge success when it first came out in 1977. Toys, action figures, and memorabilia of all kinds, including Marvel comic books. Issue 18 of the original series claimed the name The Empire Strikes, incredibly similar to Episode 5's title. So did the past repeat itself? Did the creators of the next Star Wars film steal their title just as George might have in the late 70s? I definitely don't agree with the skeptics claiming that the Episode 7 crew stole the name. In fact, I'm certain it's just a coincidence. Think about it. With thousands, possibly millions of name guesses and suggestions, how would they be able to pick a specific title from the bunch? There was bound to be a duplication of predictions somehow, and the fact that Abrams and Kennedy came up with a name that had already been guessed is actually rather likely. So now that we have an official title for Episode 7, there have been countless amounts of fan art, movie trailer parodies, and plot predictions. But what are my predictions for The Force Awakens? First of all, let me just say that we don't even know that this title will stick. In the past, Star Wars titles have been changed. Return of the Jedi was originally titled Revenge of the Jedi, but George felt like Jedis don't seek revenge, so he changed the title to fit the theme better. Who knows? Maybe this title will change to How Jar Jar Got His Groove Back. But based on the current title and news leaks, I have thrown together this opening crawl. So now that you've read some of my predictions of the new film, what do I think of the name The Force Awakens? Personally, I'm actually extremely excited about this title. It fits perfectly with the original trilogy names of A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. The Force Awakens seems to fit into the theme of the leaked images and plot that we've given so far. Luke has gone missing, and John Boyega, a rebellious stormtrooper, and Daisy Ridley, possibly the offspring of Han and Leia, are on the search for the Jedi Master Skywalker. They meet up with Han and Chewbacca in the hunt for Luke, along with C-3PO and R2-D2. I'll stop there, but I do want to share what I believe would be an awesome intro for The Force Awakens. Right after the opening crawl, the camera pans down to a lightsaber flying through space towards Tatooine. It catches fire as it plummets to the surface and lands in the sand dunes. And that's when a stormtrooper walks up to it. And the story continues from there, with Luke's lightsaber. So that's the history and my opinion on the new title for Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens. Subscribe to Star Geek for weekly Star Wars content. If you like the title, hate it, or just enjoyed the video, please shoot that like button at light speed. You can go check out my Facebook page linked in the description below, as it really helps me out when you like my page. If you go over to the page, you will get daily news on Star Wars Top 10 lists, Star Geek episodes, memes, and even The Force Awakens. Also go and check out my Twitter account at StarGeekYT for tons of quick updates. Try clicking on the screen to subscribe and click on the link to the left for my last video, my top 10 worst special edition changes list. You can also click on the right to watch my Fixie by Coldplay Star Wars music video, my all-time favorite video on the channel so far. Don't forget to like the video and comment on your list below the video. Until we meet again in a galaxy far, far away, this has been Star Geek.